clasp. Let's make the perfect bracelet. Hey there, I'm Dena. This is my final project from the Cat's Meow Anniversary Bundle. We're making a bowl bracelet with serious personality. We'll use glossy black agate, vibrant cat's eye, adorable cat head beads, seed beads for spacing, and finish it all off with a magnetic all print clasp. It's simple to make and super fun to wear. So let's get started. Alrighty, so let's get started with my Calico Catwalk bracelet. At least that's what I think I'm going to call it. So I have all the beads already out that we're going to need for the bracelet. And if you need to purchase any of these beads, you can always go to the description box down below down here. And I have some links for you to purchase the seed beads if you want to follow along, if you don't have them. Alrighty, so to start off with, we're going to be doing right angle weave. There's going to be two different parts of right angle weave that we're going to be doing, two different patterns to it. And I will show you each pattern, and then I'll break away and let you finish the length, and then come back and show you how to finish off the bracelet after that. Let's start off with one of our black agate beads, probably just call it agates. Then that'll be one of the middle portions of the bracelet. So the bracelet itself, that's going to go this direction, every middle bead is going to be a black agate. So you're going to change up your side beads depending on which ones you're going to end up doing. So the first of your right angle weave patterns is going to be a black agate down on the bottom. You're going to have an 8, 11, 8 on the side, an agate for the top, and then an 8, 11, 8 for the other side. Now with this being the case, we're going to go ahead, since we're going through agates and everything, we're going through large beads, I'm going to go ahead and just make a knot here. And that way it is secure. So right over left, left over right, it's secure and it won't be slipping around on you too much. There we go. Yeah, it's a little loose, but that's fine. It'll tighten up after you go through it a couple of times. So this is the first bead that we put on. This is the first agate right here on the right hand side. So we're going to go ahead and go through that bead. And we're going to get ourselves out to this bead over here, because we started off with that one. I just flipped it in my hands. So now the first bead that we added is now on the left hand side. So let's go through the top beads up here at the top. And then the beads, the agate bead on the right hand side. So that is your first raw unit that you're going to have. Now I'm going to call these the connector units, and then the other unit that we're about to do is going to be the main bead unit, the ones with the cats and the cat's eye beads. So the first thing that we're going to start off with, we're going to add a cat on this side. So your left hand side is already here, so we need to add the bottom. So we're going to add an 11, a cat bead, and an 11. So that's going to be your bottom section. Now remember, your side beads are always going to be agates. So pick up an agate. And then your top bead on this part is going to be an 11, an 8, a crystal, which are the cat's eye crystals. As soon as I figure out the hole. And then an 8 and an 11. And when you pull this all down, that's what I have on the thread so far. So I'm going to round this out and go back through the left hand side in the same direction that the thread is going in right now. Now we need to get ourselves over here so we can add another connector unit, because this is the cat portion. That's already done here, so let's go back through this first section down here, which is the 11, the cat, and the 11. And then we're going to go back through the right hand side, which is the agate. Now if your tension is really, really loose, like if you didn't notice that sometimes my beads are getting really, really loose, it's perfectly fine. We're about to go through these beads another time when we add some beads around the edge and everything to connect everything together. So if you're really, really loose, you can either go back through your unit one more time to kind of help tighten it up. You can just do one pretty good tug of the thread if you want to do it that way as well. Or you can wait until we get to the very end where we go around the edge and tighten everything up and connect it all together that way. So now we're getting set up to where we can do another connector unit. So we already have the left hand side bead there. We need the top, which is going to be an 8, an 11, and an 8. Our side, just like in the and now and throughout the whole bracelet, our side is always going to be an agate. And then the same on the bottom that you have on the top. An 8, 11, and an 8. And then go through the left-hand side bead from the bottom to the top, going in the same direction as the thread path. So there is another connector unit. I'm going to do one more of the cat units because we're going to do this one a little bit different. So we're going to continue through the top and then to the right-hand side, which now becomes our left-hand side. Now in this part where we're going to add the cat, we're going to do it the opposite of what we did here. So we have the cat on the bottom here, we're going to put the cat up here at the top. But right now my thread is down here at the bottom. So we're going to add the crystal first. So that's going to be an 11, 8 crystal. Whenever I can find a hole. Oh, I see one. There we go. And then an 8 and 11. Okay, so since that took a minute, 11, 8 crystal, 8, 11. Put your side agate on. And then now your top bead is going to be your 11 and your cat and your 11. So now that's going to sit on the top. And then we're going to go through our left-hand side bead in the direction of the thread. And then now that puts your cat bead on. So get yourself set up to go add your next connector unit. And then you can move on. Now, this is going to be the pattern for the bracelet. Just exactly this. So what I did with my bracelet is I added the connector unit first, and then I did 6 of the cat beads. And then at the very end, I had another connector unit. So I started and ended with a connector unit. So what I'll do is I'll put on the last 2 of the cat beads. That's why I'm going to end up doing just a smaller bracelet, because I've already used up 6 of the beads and everything. And then I'll show you at the end, after I get these 4 on here, how we can just continue on if you wanted to, which is very simple. Or you can follow along, and then we're going to complete the outer edge of the bracelet by connecting each one of these units. Now, as far as lengthwise, I found out that my 6 cat beads that I used, plus the connector units on the top, on the front and the back of the unit, or of the bracelet, ends up being about a 6 1/4 to about a 6 1/2 inch bracelet. So it's pretty tight on my wrist, which is fine. That's fine for me, and I know a lot of people like to wear smaller bracelets, so I'm going to keep it just the way it is. I would think that if you needed something bigger than a 6 1/4 to around a 6 1/2 inch bracelet, I would think that each section that you would add, so both your connector unit plus your cat unit, would be about another inch or so, give or take. So I'm thinking that if you needed about a 7 1/4 inch bracelet, then adding 7 of your cat beads at the end. So if you consider this unit number 1, then unit number 2, and that be 1 full unit right here to figure out how many of the cat beads that you need to add on. I would think that if you were to add 7 of your cat beads doing that, and then finish with your last unit over here, I would think that would be about a 7 1/4 inch, and then so on and so forth. If you needed to have 8-inch bracelet, somewhere around in there, I would add 8 of the cat beads. I don't have enough beads to be able to figure that out, because I had already finished the bracelet, put it on, realized it was kind of small, so I'm thinking that's what you would need to do. So go ahead and follow that, and if you need to add on some more units, you can always do that. You can always subtract units before we get to the next portion and everything like that. So go ahead and finish the length of the bracelet that you need. Come on back and I will show you that next step. Alright, so once you have your desired length of your bracelet already done, and you have a connector unit on the front and the back, or the first and the last, whichever way you want to look at it. Always end with the connector unit. That's going to be the easiest thing to do. But next thing we need to do is add our wire guard. So to do that, we're going to add 7 of our 8s. 4, 5, 6, and 7. I'm holding it to where it is up and down like this now. So our agates are in the center. Coming out of the right hand side of the agate, we're going to go in the direction of the thread. So go back through the agate again. Just like that. And then I'm going to go back through the first 4 of the 7 8-0s that we just added. And then I'm going to tug it just a little bit just to make sure that it is tied up against the bead. Then we're going to add our wire guard. We're going to go up one side of the wire guard, pull that down, and then we're going to go down the other side of the wire guard, just like that. Now the wire guard itself, I'm going to go ahead and pinch it just a little bit down at the tip. And some of these wire guards are stainless steel, so they're going to be kind of hard to pinch, but it can still happen. And I'm going to circle around that middle 8-0, so number 4 that we went through just earlier. And then that will attach your wire guard to the top of that 8-0. Now we're going to go through the wire guard one more time. Always want to put at least 2 thread paths through your wire guard. If you can get 3, 3 is even better than 2. Especially on a bracelet and everything. So now we have 2 thread paths, and we're going to finish it out by continuing through that 8-0 that's there on the top. Oops. And try not to knot your thread. So there you go. So now let's start getting some of these connected. That didn't come out right. So we're going to go down the side of the bracelet to be able to connect all of our units together to help fill in these gaps that are right here. So go ahead and go through the last 3 of those seed beads. That's around the agate. And this part's pretty simple. Pick up an 8-0, go through the next little section, which this one is going to be the 8, 11, 8. Pick up an 8-0. Go through the next section, which is going to be an 11, a cat, and an 11. And then the next one is an 8, 11, 8, because it's a connector section. And then this next one is going to be the 11, 8, crystal, 8, and the 11. So that's all you do on this section. We're going to add our wire guard on one end, go down one side of the bracelet, get down over here, add your wire guard on this side as well, and then we're going to go back up the bracelet on this side, and then we're going to end up coming back down this one side of the bracelet one more time so we can get back to the starter thread. Now down here at the bottom, I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you, because there's going to be a little bit of a confusion as to when and where we're going to be able to add this extra 8-0 that we added in between the 7 up here at the top and then the ones that are on the side. So I'll continue on down here. I'll get my wire guard put on down here, and then I'll come around and I'll show you how to fix that, just in case you're confused on how to get that connected. So I'll see you back in a second. To the other end of my bracelet, and I just added the wire guard on this side of the bracelet. So when you go back through everything, you're going to end up over here to where basically you're going to be going back down the same side of the bracelet again. And we don't want to do that. We want to go down this side of the bracelet. So since we're over here on this side, we can go ahead and add our last 8/0 over here. So just go through the first section, which is going to be the 8, 11, 8. Come out right before you get to that second 8 right there. Because what we're going to end up doing is going through the agate. So we're basically following our thread path in the right angle weave unit, and then go back up or out towards the right through the bottom portion, which is the 8, 11, 8 again. Now we're going to add our next 8/0 sitting here, and this one I'm going to go ahead and go through the 8 beads, or the 7 beads that are around the agate bead here at the end. I just want to go through the 7. I don't want to go through that extra bead that we added on the other side already. Now we need to get ourselves back over here so that way we can go down this side of the bracelet. So since we're sitting here, we can go straight through the agate. So we're basically just following our thread path again through the bottom 3 beads, which is the 8, 11, 8. And now you're set up to where you can go down and start adding your 8s on this side of the bracelet. So this one's going to be the 11, the cat bead, and the 11, and then so on and so forth. Just like that. So that's all you have to do, is you just follow your thread path and then add your beads and then come back down this side. And then, like I said, once we get down over here, we're going to add that last bead over here next to this wire guard. Then we're going to go through these 7 beads over here, and I'm just going to go right back over on this side until I get back to my starter thread, which is over here, right here, and then tie off. And then after that, meet me back and I will show you how to add your clasp. Clasp out, and a pair of jump rings, and then a pair of pliers so you can open and close your jump rings. These jump rings just happen to be open already, so I'm just going to slip one onto the wire guard and then go through one of the rings here on the clasp. Now of course you can use your clasp of choice. This one just came with the anniversary kit, so I think it's absolutely cute and adorable. And I'm going to go ahead and use it on the bracelet, which I already have because I've already finished one. And then I keep the clasp connected like this. I always do that because I tend to have a tendency to put things on backwards. So I just keep it on there. It's just easier for me. So I go ahead and click on, whoops, the other jump ring and then throw it across the room. Okay, try that again. Clip on the other jump ring to the wire guard, hold on to the jump ring this time, hopefully, and then what I do is I will move the bracelet around like this, keeping it in line, the clasp in line, so all I have to do is just attach it like that to the jump ring. I just find it makes it easier to do it that way. So that way I don't have to worry about, okay, do I have it up, right side up, wrong side down, you know, whatever the case is. So here's our very cute little small Barbie bracelet or a doll bracelet. But this is the bracelet that I ended up making. So here is the length on this one. And these clasps are very, very cute. Very nice. So that's what it looks like when you put it out all together. So there is our Calico Catwalk bracelet. That finishes our Cat's Meow series, and I'd love to see how your bracelet turned out. Head over to my YouTube community tab and share a photo or comment with your version. And if you enjoyed this series, make sure you're subscribed. More kits, more designs, and more creativity are coming soon.